wealth. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your financial life actually change? Or would the same habits, beliefs, and decisions eventually bring you right back to where you started? Because earning more money and becoming financially stronger are not the same thing. You can increase your income and increase your expenses with it. You can receive better opportunities while carrying the same beliefs that caused you to overlook opportunities before. So before your financial life changes permanently, something else may need to change first. The way you think. Imagine two people receiving the same financial opportunity. Both get a significant increase in income. The first immediately thinks about everything they can finally afford. A better car, better clothes, a more expensive lifestyle. The second person asks a different question. What could this additional income make possible 5 years from now? For the first few months, their lives may not look dramatically different. But give those decisions enough time, and the distance between them can become enormous. Same opportunity, different thinking, different decisions, different outcomes. And that's what this audiobook means by reprogramming your mind for wealth. It isn't about pretending money will magically appear because you think positively. It's about recognizing that your beliefs influence what you notice, what you attempt, what you avoid, and how you respond when opportunity appears. Many people spend years trying to change their financial circumstances without examining the thinking that keeps recreating those circumstances. They want different results while repeating familiar decisions. But when the beliefs begin changing, the questions change. When the questions change, the decisions can change. And repeated long enough, different decisions can create a very different future. So think about the last major financial decision you made. Who made it? The person you're trying to become? Or the habits, fears, and expectations you've carried for years? Throughout this audiobook, we'll examine where your beliefs about money came from, why earning more doesn't automatically create wealth, how lifestyle can compete with your future, why some people notice opportunities others overlook, and what kind of person you may need to become to responsibly handle greater success. Henry Ford is widely credited with saying, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Thinking alone doesn't create wealth, but what you believe can influence which actions you're willing to take and which possibilities you reject before you ever begin. So before we go any further, answer one question. What is one thing you currently believe about money? Don't change it yet. Don't judge it. Just notice it. Because before you can reprogram the way you think about money, you first have to recognize the program that's already running. And some of that programming began much earlier than you might realize. Some of your strongest beliefs about money were formed before you ever earned your first dollar. Chapter 1. The money story you didn't choose. Some of your strongest beliefs about money were formed before you ever earned your first dollar. Long before you had a paycheck, a bank account, or bills of your own, you were already learning what money meant. You learned by watching. Maybe you heard adults say, "Money is hard to make." Maybe whenever something cost too much, the answer was, "We can't afford that." Perhaps successful people were described as lucky, selfish, dishonest, or greedy. Or maybe money created tension in your home. Arguments happened when bills arrived. Financial conversations were filled with worry. Wanting more was treated as unrealistic, and taking financial risks was something responsible people simply didn't do. As a child, you probably weren't analyzing any of this. You were absorbing it. And that's where the story begins. Imagine two children growing up in two different homes. In the first home, whenever money is discussed, the conversation centers around scarcity. We don't have enough. Money doesn't grow on trees. People like us don't get opportunities like that. The child hears these statements repeatedly. Years later, that child becomes an adult. Now imagine the second home. Money isn't unlimited there either, but the conversations sound different. When something is too expensive, instead of simply saying, "We can't afford it," someone asks, "How can we afford it?" When someone becomes successful, instead of criticizing them, the family becomes curious. What did they do differently? When a financial mistake happens, it becomes a lesson rather than a permanent identity. Neither child chose those early conversations, but both children were learning. And years later, those lessons can quietly become financial behavior. This is why changing your financial future sometimes requires looking backward before moving forward. Because you cannot change a financial pattern you don't recognize. You may tell yourself, "I'm just bad with money." But where did that belief come from? Was there actually a moment when someone officially determined that you were incapable of managing money? Probably not. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe nobody taught you. Maybe you've repeated certain habits long enough that they've started feeling like part of your personality. But a repeated behavior isn't necessarily a permanent identity. There's an enormous difference between saying, "I'm bad with money," and saying, "I haven't learned how to manage money well yet." The first statement closes the door. The second leaves room for growth. And this is where many financial transformations quietly begin, not with more money, but with better questions. The belief beneath the behavior. Consider the statement, "Money is hard to make." If you deeply believe that, what might happen when an opportunity appears? You may distrust it before investigating it. You may assume learning a new skill won't matter. You may remain in situations you've outgrown because uncertainty feels more dangerous than dissatisfaction. Now consider, rich people are greedy. If wealth and greed become connected in your mind, you can create an internal conflict without realizing it. Part of you may want financial success. Another part may associate financial success with becoming someone you don't respect. And then there's one of the most limiting stories of all. People like me don't become wealthy. People from my neighborhood don't do that. People from my family don't do that. People with my education don't do that. People who started where I started don't do that. Eventually, circumstances become identity. And identity begins influencing decisions. But here's the important part. A belief can feel true without being useful, complete, or permanent. You are allowed to examine what you learned. You are allowed to question it. And you are allowed to replace a belief that no longer serves the future you're trying to create. Think about how many adults are still financially responding to sentences they heard as children. A 40-year-old can earn their own money, live in their own home, make their own decisions, and still hear an old voice saying, "That's not for people like us." They may call it being realistic. They may call it being careful. They may even call it common sense. But sometimes, it's simply an old belief wearing adult clothes. And that's worth recognizing. You can become old enough to make your own money while still following financial rules you never consciously chose. The income may belong to the adult, but the beliefs may still belong to the child. Until those beliefs are examined, yesterday's lessons can quietly keep making tomorrow's decisions. So before trying to earn more, build more, or become more successful, take a moment to examine the story you're already carrying. Ask yourself, what did I hear about money growing up? What did the people around me believe about wealthy people? Was money discussed with possibility or fear? Was success something we studied or something we criticized? What do I automatically tell myself when I see an opportunity that feels bigger than my current circumstances? Don't judge your answers. Observe them. Because awareness isn't about blaming your parents, your environment, or your past. The people who raised you probably inherited money stories of their own. And they may have inherited those stories from people who came before them. The purpose isn't blame. It's recognition. Today, identify one inherited belief about money that no longer serves you. Write it down. Maybe it's, money is always hard to make. Then underneath it, write something more useful. Money requires value, skills, decisions, and opportunities, and I can learn to improve each of those. Maybe your old belief is, I'm bad with money. Replace it with, money management is a skill, and skills can be learned. Or perhaps it's, people like me don't become wealthy. Replace it with a question. What would I need to learn, change, and consistently do to create a different financial future? Notice that none of these replacements promises instant wealth. That's important. Reprogramming your thinking isn't pretending obstacles don't exist. It's refusing to let an inherited belief decide what's possible before you've even examined the evidence. Your financial story may have started before you were old enough to choose it. But you are no longer that child listening from the other room. You're the person making the decisions now. You can question the old rules. You can learn what you were never taught. You can develop skills you didn't grow up seeing. And you can write a different ending. Because recognizing the old story is only the beginning. The next question is what you do once money actually reaches your hands. And that's where the difference between simply earning money and beginning to build wealth becomes impossible to ignore. Chapter 2. Stop thinking only like an earner. Working harder can increase your income, but it doesn't automatically create wealth. For most of my life, earning money seemed like a simple equation. You work, you get paid, you spend what you earn. Then you return to work and do it again. Earn, spend, repeat. There's nothing inherently wrong with that cycle. We all have bills. We all need food, transportation, housing, and things that make life enjoyable. But eventually, I began noticing something. Some people earned more money every year and still seemed to be standing in the same financial place. Their income increased. Their lifestyle increased with it. The car became more expensive. The house became larger. The subscriptions multiplied. The vacations became more elaborate. Yet if the income stopped, everything became vulnerable. That made me question something I had once taken for granted. What if earning more money and building wealth are two completely different skills? Imagine two people. Both earn $60,000 a year. Both receive a raise. Both now have an additional amount of money arriving every month. The first person immediately adjusts their lifestyle. A nicer vehicle becomes affordable. More dining out becomes affordable. A few additional monthly payments don't seem significant because the paycheck is larger. Within several months, the new income has disappeared into a new lifestyle. The second person makes a different decision. They enjoy some of the increase, but they don't immediately give every new dollar a new expense. Some is kept. Some is used to develop skills. Some goes toward building something that could create future value. Years later, the difference between these two people may be significant. But the difference didn't begin with income. They earned the same amount. The difference began with what happened after the money arrived. That's when I started thinking about money through a different sequence. Instead of earn, spend, repeat, I began thinking earn, keep, build, multiply. Not as a complicated financial formula, as a behavioral one. Because before money can grow into anything meaningful, some of it has to survive your current lifestyle. Earning is only the first skill. Think about an employee who becomes exceptionally good at what they do. They learn to communicate. They solve problems. They become reliable. They understand technology. They learn leadership. Those skills may make them more valuable in the marketplace and create opportunities to earn more. That's important. But earning more is still only the beginning. The next question becomes, what will that additional income build? Will it only create additional consumption? Or can some of it create greater options in the future? This is where the mindset begins shifting. An earner primarily asks, how much can I make? A builder eventually begins asking, what can I create with what I make? That question can lead in many directions. For some people, it might mean business ownership. Someone develops a skill, notices a problem, and builds a service around solving it. Their income is no longer connected only to hours worked. They're building systems, customer relationships, reputation, and something that may continue creating value beyond a single day's labor. For someone else, it could mean acquiring assets. Not because every asset guarantees wealth, it doesn't, but because they begin understanding the difference between money that disappears through consumption and resources that have the potential to create future value. And then there's something many people overlook entirely. Intellectual property. A book, a course, software, music, photography, a design, a useful process, educational content, a digital product. An idea can sometimes be created once and continue delivering value repeatedly. Even content itself demonstrates this principle. Imagine creating one useful video. You spend several hours producing it. The work happens once, but that video could potentially be discovered tomorrow, next month, or years later. It can continue teaching someone while you're doing something completely different. That doesn't guarantee income, but it illustrates a different way of thinking. Instead of asking only, how can I get paid for today's work? You begin asking, what can today's work create that still has value tomorrow? That's the transition from simply earning toward building. And it begins with value. Because sustainable wealth isn't created merely by wanting more money. Money generally moves toward value being exchanged. Someone solves a problem. Someone teaches a skill. Someone creates convenience. Someone builds entertainment. Someone develops technology. Someone provides a service another person considers valuable enough to pay for. So perhaps one of the better questions isn't, how can I make more money? It might be, how can I become capable of creating more value? That question changes where your attention goes. Instead of chasing money itself, you begin developing the abilities that can produce it. But here's where this gets interesting. You can become excellent at creating value and still struggle financially if every dollar you earn immediately becomes a dollar you spend. That's why the second word matters. Keep. Not keep everything. Not stop enjoying your life. Not become afraid to spend money. Simply create space between what comes in and what goes out. Because that space creates choices. Choices to learn. Choices to build. Choices to take opportunities. Choices to survive difficult seasons without panic. Choices to think beyond the next paycheck. And over time, choices can become freedom. A person can double their income and remain financially trapped if their lifestyle doubles with it. Another person can receive a much smaller increase, keep part of it, use part of it to build skills or ownership, and slowly create options they never had before. Wealth isn't determined only by what passes through your hands. What matters is what you keep, what you build, and what your money helps make possible next. That's an important distinction. And it's why someone earning a large salary isn't automatically wealthy. High income can be incredibly useful, but income describes flow. It tells you what's coming in. It doesn't automatically tell you what's being kept or built. Think again about the sequence. Earn, develop useful skills and create value. Keep, allow some portion of what you earn to remain instead of immediately increasing consumption. Build, use your resources, money, knowledge, time, relationships, and skills to create things with longer-term value. Multiply, allow useful systems, ownership, knowledge, and time to potentially expand what you've built. This isn't a promise that following four words will make someone rich. Real financial outcomes are more complicated than that. But as a way of thinking, it forces you to look beyond your next paycheck. And that's exactly what I want you to do today. Open your bank statement or transaction history from the last 30 days. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't immediately start cutting everything you enjoy. Just observe. Where did your money primarily go? Separate it mentally into a few categories. Living. What supported your basic life? Enjoying. What created experiences, convenience, or entertainment? Keeping. What remained? Building. What helped strengthen your future, whether through savings, learning, tools, skills, business, or other productive uses. Then ask yourself one question. If I repeated this exact pattern for the next 5 years, where would it take me? That question may tell you more than your income does. Because earning matters. Working hard matters. Increasing your income can matter enormously. But eventually, you have to decide what all that effort is building. And that leads us to an uncomfortable truth. Even when people begin earning more, there's something constantly competing for every additional dollar. A nicer lifestyle, a little more convenience, a little more status, a little more proof that we're doing well. And sometimes, without realizing it, we start spending tomorrow's freedom trying to look successful today. That's where we're going next. Chapter 3. Your lifestyle is competing with your future. Every dollar you spend is buying something, but sometimes what you're really buying is approval. There is a strange moment that often happens when people begin earning more money. For years, they imagine a higher income will finally create breathing room. They'll save more, build more, worry less, prepare for the future. Then the raise arrives. And somehow, a few months later, the breathing room is gone. Not necessarily because something went wrong. Sometimes it's because everything got upgraded. Imagine two people. We'll call them Marcus and Daniel. They work in similar careers. They earn similar incomes, and after several years of developing their skills, both receive significant increases in pay. For the first time, they have money left over after their basic expenses. Marcus feels like he's finally made it. So he celebrates. His current car works perfectly well, but now he can afford something newer. The monthly payment isn't unreasonable. Then he moves into a more expensive apartment. After all, he's earning more now. His wardrobe improves. He starts eating at better restaurants. He upgrades his phone. His vacations become more expensive. Individually, none of these decisions seems disastrous. That's what makes lifestyle inflation so difficult to notice. There usually isn't one massive financial mistake. It's a series of reasonable-looking upgrades. and each one quietly claims another piece of the raise. Daniel makes a different choice. He improves parts of his life too. He isn't trying to live miserably. He isn't refusing every experience so he can stare at a bank balance. But instead of allowing his lifestyle to rise at the same speed as his income, he creates a gap. His income rises significantly. His lifestyle rises slightly. And the difference is intentional. He uses some of that difference to create financial reserves. Some helps him develop new skills. Some gives him the ability to pursue opportunities without needing an immediate return. Most people looking at Marcus and Daniel after the first year might assume Marcus is doing better. His success is easier to see. Daniel's progress is almost invisible. But 5 years pass, and that's when the story becomes interesting. Marcus has continued earning more, but each increase has been followed by another upgrade. More income created more expenses. More expenses created greater dependence on the next paycheck. He looks successful, but he doesn't necessarily feel free. Daniel's life looks different. The gap he quietly protected has accumulated. He has options he didn't have 5 years earlier. If an opportunity appears, he can consider it. If an unexpected expense happens, it doesn't immediately become a crisis. If he wants to invest in learning, build something, or make a career change, he has room to think. Two people, similar incomes, very different outcomes. What separated them wasn't simply how much they earned. It was what they believed an increase in income was supposed to mean. Marcus saw higher income as permission to consume more. Daniel saw higher income as an opportunity to create more options. And that's where lifestyle begins competing with your future. The invisible cost of looking successful. Most of us like nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem begins when we stop asking whether we actually value something and start asking whether other people will value us for having it. That's a very different purchase. A car can provide transportation, but sometimes we're buying recognition. Clothing can serve a practical purpose, but sometimes we're buying status. A vacation can create meaningful memories, but sometimes we're buying photographs that prove we're living an exciting life. A house can provide security and comfort, but sometimes we're buying an address that communicates success. The object isn't necessarily the problem. The motive matters. Ask yourself, if nobody could see this, would I still want it? That's an uncomfortable question, but it's incredibly useful. Because some purchases lose much of their appeal the moment the audience disappears. Comparison changed when everyone got a camera. There was a time when most people compared themselves primarily to their neighbors, coworkers, friends, and relatives. Social media changed the scale. Now, within 5 minutes, you can compare your ordinary Tuesday to someone's luxury vacation. You can compare your first year in business to someone's 15th. Your apartment to someone else's mansion. Your car to someone's exotic vehicle. Your clothes. Your body. Your income. Your relationships. Your progress. And there's something important to remember. You're usually comparing your entire life to someone else's selected moments. You see the purchase. You don't see the bank statement. You see the vacation. You don't see whether it was paid for immediately or financed for months. You see the new car. You don't see the payment. You see the successful business owner. You don't see the years when nobody knew their name. Social media can make normal progress feel like failure. And when people begin feeling behind, consumption can become a shortcut to feeling successful. You may not have built wealth yet, but you can buy something that looks like wealth. You may not feel accomplished yet, but you can purchase something associated with accomplishment. For a moment, the appearance closes the gap until the bill arrives. Here's where the distinction becomes powerful. Looking wealthy and becoming wealthy can require completely opposite decisions. Looking wealthy may encourage you to spend money where people can see it. Becoming wealthy may require keeping resources where nobody can see them. Looking wealthy asks, what can I buy that proves I'm doing well? Building wealth asks, what can I do today that gives my future more options? One seeks recognition now. The other is willing to remain invisible for a while. And sometimes the person who appears to have less is quietly building far more. That's delayed gratification. Not punishment, not deprivation, not refusing to enjoy your life. Delayed gratification simply means understanding that every desire doesn't require immediate satisfaction. You can want something without buying it today. You can afford something without needing to own it. You can increase your income without immediately increasing every expense around it. And perhaps most importantly, you can be successful without constantly proving that you're successful. That's freedom too. More money doesn't automatically solve money behavior. This is why earning more can be transformative, but it isn't automatically transformational. If someone earns $3,000 a month and spends everything, then begins earning $5,000 and simply develops a $5,000 lifestyle, the income changed. The pattern didn't. Give the same pattern $8,000, and it may eventually create an $8,000 lifestyle. That's why financial growth sometimes requires behavioral growth before the next income increase arrives. Otherwise, more money simply gives old habits a larger budget. Pause for a moment and consider your own life. When your income has increased in the past, what happened next? Did you create more margin? Or did your expenses quietly rise to meet it? Don't use the question to criticize yourself. Use it to notice your pattern. Because remember what we established earlier. You cannot change a financial pattern you don't recognize. Now let's make this practical. Look at your spending from the last 30 days. Choose one expense and ask yourself, did this genuinely improve my life? Or was part of this purchase about how I wanted to be perceived? Maybe there isn't one. That's fine. But if there is, don't immediately cancel it or feel guilty about it. Simply recognize it. Then ask, what could this money represent instead? Peace, time, education, an emergency reserve, a business idea, a future opportunity. The goal isn't to make every financial decision about tomorrow. A life spent preparing for the future, but never enjoying the present isn't necessarily balanced either. The goal is intentionality. Enjoy what you genuinely value. Spend where it meaningfully improves your life. But be careful about sacrificing your future to impress people who may not even be paying attention. Because 5 years from now, you probably won't remember every purchase you almost made. But you may remember what the margin you protected allowed you to do. And once you stop using money primarily to prove something, another possibility begins to emerge. You can start using your attention to notice something far more valuable. Problems. Because while one person sees a problem and complains about it, another person sees the exact same problem and begins asking a different question. Could I solve this? And that ability to see opportunity where other people see inconvenience is something you can actually train. That's where we're going next. Chapter 4. Train your mind to see opportunity. Two people can look at the same problem and see completely different futures. One sees inconvenience. The other asks, could I solve this? That question sounds simple, but it represents a completely different way of moving through the world. For years, I thought opportunities were things you found. The right business opportunity, the right connection, the right job, the right idea. Almost as if opportunity were hidden somewhere, waiting for the lucky person who happened to stumble across it. But over time, I started noticing something. The people who seemed to find opportunities everywhere weren't necessarily luckier. They had simply trained themselves to pay attention to different things. Where most people noticed frustration, they noticed demand. Where most people complained about inconvenience, they became curious. Where most people said, someone should do something about this, they asked, what would it take to solve it? And once you begin thinking this way, the world starts looking different. Imagine two people walking through the same neighborhood. They pass a busy restaurant where customers are standing outside waiting for tables. The first person thinks, this place needs to get organized. The second wonders, why is the wait so long? Is there a better way restaurants could manage this? They continue walking. They notice parents struggling to keep young children entertained while running errands. One sees noisy children. The other sees a problem families experience every day. A few blocks later, they notice a local business with excellent products but almost no customers. One person assumes, business must be slow. The other asks, do people even know this place exists? Same neighborhood, same problems, different questions. And different questions can eventually create completely different futures. Opportunity often arrives disguised as inconvenience. Here's where this becomes interesting. Many of the things we complain about every day are signals. This takes too long. This is too complicated. Why isn't there an easier way? I wish someone offered this around here. I can never find anyone reliable to do this. This product would be better if. Most people experience the frustration and move on. But someone else becomes curious. That doesn't mean every inconvenience should become a business. Most shouldn't. The point is that opportunity recognition is a skill. And like most skills, it can be trained. The more often you ask useful questions, the more frequently your brain begins looking for useful answers. Instead of only asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, why does this problem exist? Who else experiences it? How are they solving it now? What's missing? Could this be made easier, faster, cheaper, clearer, safer, or more enjoyable? Those questions train your attention. And attention matters because opportunities are often visible long before they become obvious. Think about business. At its simplest level, a business solves a problem or satisfies a desire. Someone is hungry. A restaurant provides food. Someone doesn't have time to clean their home. A cleaning service provides time and convenience. A company struggles to reach customers. A marketer helps them communicate. Parents need safe childcare. Families need transportation. Businesses need accounting. People want entertainment. Homeowners need repairs. None of those opportunities began with money. They began with a need. The money came afterward because someone created value around solving it. That's why one of the most useful habits you can develop isn't constantly asking, how can I make money? It's asking, what problem can I become good at solving? Money may follow value, but value usually begins with attention. Technology works the same way. Think about how many technologies exist because someone became frustrated with an old process. Communication was too slow. Payments were inconvenient. Information was difficult to access. Transportation was inefficient. Shopping required too much time. Entertainment was limited by location. Then someone asked, could there be another way? You don't need to invent the next global technology company to apply this thinking. Technology has also created smaller opportunities. A local business owner may not understand how to use new software. Someone can teach them. A company may struggle to organize information. Someone can create a system. A professional may be overwhelmed by repetitive tasks. Someone can help automate part of the process. New technology doesn't only replace opportunities. It creates new problems that require new solutions. The people paying attention are often the first to notice. Content is another example. Every day, millions of people type questions into search bars. How do I start a business? How do I fix this? How do I learn that? Which product should I buy? What mistakes should I avoid? People aren't only searching for entertainment. They're revealing what they want to understand. A creator who pays attention to those questions doesn't have to sit around asking, what should I post today? They can ask, what does my audience need help understanding? Now content becomes problem solving. A tutorial solves confusion. A review reduces uncertainty. A story provides perspective. An explanation makes something complicated easier to understand. An audiobook can help someone reconsider how they think. Again, opportunity begins with noticing what people need. Services may be even easier to overlook. Someone doesn't need a revolutionary invention. They need their lawn cut, their hair styled, their website built, their taxes prepared, their event organized, their car cleaned, their photographs taken, their business promoted, their furniture assembled. The opportunity may look ordinary because the problem is ordinary. But ordinary problems happen repeatedly. And repeated problems can create repeated demand. Some of the best opportunities don't look exciting in the beginning. They look like inconveniences everyone has become accustomed to tolerating. One person complains about the problem. Another person studies it. A third person learns how to solve it. And eventually, the person solving the problem may be the one everyone else is willing to pay. That's the shift. From complaint to curiosity. From curiosity to observation. From observation to value. But there's another side to this. Not every valuable opportunity needs to become a business. Sometimes the opportunity is simply to become useful. Your community may have a problem you can help solve. An elderly neighbor may need assistance. Young people may need mentorship. A local organization may need volunteers. A family may need information you already know. A friend may need a connection you can make. Opportunity isn't always asking, how can I profit from this? Sometimes it's asking, how can I contribute? And strangely enough, becoming someone who consistently notices ways to contribute can create opportunities you never could have planned. People remember problem solvers. They remember people who make things easier. They remember people who bring useful ideas instead of constant complaints. Over time, that reputation becomes valuable. So ask yourself something. When you encounter a problem, what's your first reaction? Do you immediately become frustrated? Do you assume someone else should fix it? Or have you developed the habit of becoming curious? This is where mindset becomes practical. A person trained to see only obstacles will find evidence that the world is full of problems. They aren't wrong. It is. But a person trained to see opportunities looks at many of those same problems and sees something else. Unmet needs. The problem hasn't changed. The interpretation has. And sometimes interpretation determines action. For the next 7 days, I want you to try a simple exercise. Don't start a business. Don't create a product. Don't spend money. Don't buy a course. For now, just observe. Every day for 7 days, write down one problem you notice. It could be something you experience personally, something a coworker complains about, something you hear repeatedly in your community, something customers struggle with, something that's unnecessarily complicated, something technology could improve, something people regularly waste time doing. Write down the problem. Then underneath it, answer 3 questions. Who experiences this? Why is it frustrating? What would a better experience look like? That's all. 7 days. 7 problems. You're not trying to become an entrepreneur overnight. You're training your brain to notice. Because once you stop moving through life only as a consumer, something changes. You begin studying the world around you. You become curious about why things work the way they do. And slowly, opportunities that once seemed invisible become easier to recognize. But recognizing opportunity creates another question. What happens when an opportunity appears and you're not yet capable of taking advantage of it? Because seeing the problem isn't enough. You still need the knowledge, ability, confidence, or experience to solve it. And that leads us to one of the most important shifts in building a different financial future. Instead of spending all your energy asking how to make more money, start asking how to become more valuable. That's where we're going next. Chapter 5. Become more valuable before demanding more money. One of the most powerful ways to increase your income has nothing to do with asking for more money. It involves becoming more valuable. There's a question most of us eventually ask. How can I make more? It's a reasonable question. But I've learned there's another question that can be far more useful. How can I become capable of creating more value? Because while you can't always control what someone is willing to pay you today, you can influence the knowledge, skills, judgment, and ability you bring into the marketplace tomorrow. And over enough time, that difference can become enormous. Imagine 2 people starting their careers at roughly the same place. We'll call them David and Chris. They have similar education, similar experience, similar salaries. And when they begin, their abilities aren't dramatically different. David becomes comfortable with what he already knows. He does his job. He completes what's expected. When new technology arrives, he learns only what he needs to get through the day. When a difficult problem appears, he usually looks for someone more experienced to handle it. There's nothing obviously wrong with his approach. He's responsible. He's dependable. And for several years, things go reasonably well. Chris starts similarly, but he develops one small habit. Whenever he encounters something he doesn't understand, he becomes curious. If he notices that the strongest communicators get their ideas heard, he studies communication. When he realizes the company struggles to attract customers, he starts learning marketing. When new technology enters the industry, instead of avoiding it, he learns how it works. When he notices that certain people can walk into a difficult conversation and create agreement, he begins studying sales and negotiation. Nobody required him to do these things. And initially, there was no immediate reward. For a while, David and Chris continued earning almost the same amount. That's the frustrating part about developing yourself. The value often increases before the income does. But 5 years pass. Now something has changed. A new project needs someone who understands both the technical side and the customer. Chris can do that. A client needs someone capable of explaining a complicated idea simply. Chris has practiced that. The company needs someone who can lead a small team. Chris has been developing leadership. A problem appears that doesn't fit neatly inside anyone's job description. Chris has spent years learning how to solve unfamiliar problems. Suddenly, the difference between the two people is much larger than it appeared at the beginning. The marketplace isn't valuing Chris differently because he's somehow more deserving as a human being. Human worth and market value are not the same thing. His value as a person was never determined by his salary. But economically, he can now solve more valuable problems. And that creates more options. He can pursue different roles, negotiate from a stronger position, serve different clients, start something of his own, or combine several skills in ways that weren't possible when he began. What looked like an income difference 5 years later was actually a skill difference being built quietly for years. The question behind the paycheck. This is where the conversation about income becomes more interesting. It's easy to focus only on the number. I want to make $100,000. I want to double my income. I want my business to make more money. But numbers alone don't tell you what has to happen. A better question might be, what problems would I need to become capable of solving to create that level of value? That question forces you to think differently, because income often follows value creation. Not perfectly, not immediately, and certainly not in every circumstance. Plenty of highly skilled people are underpaid, and economic opportunity isn't distributed equally. But as a personal strategy, increasing the number and quality of problems you can solve can dramatically increase the number of opportunities available to you. And that's something you can work on. Start with communication. You can have an excellent idea and still struggle if you cannot explain it. Communication affects almost everything. Interviews, leadership, relationships, sales, presentations, negotiations, content, customer service, business. A person who can take a complicated idea and make it understandable becomes useful in almost any environment. Now consider sales. Some people hear the word sales and immediately imagine pressure or manipulation. But at its best, sales is understanding a problem, communicating value, and helping someone make a decision. A business can have an incredible product and still fail if nobody knows why they should buy it. An entrepreneur can have a brilliant idea and struggle if they cannot communicate its value. Even an employee is constantly communicating value when interviewing, presenting an idea, or negotiating responsibilities. Learning to sell ethically isn't merely a business skill. It's a communication skill. Then there's technology. Technology changes quickly enough that what made someone valuable 5 years ago may not be enough 5 years from now. That can sound threatening, but it can also be an opportunity. Because every major technological shift creates a gap between people who resist learning and people who become comfortable adapting. You don't have to master every new tool. You probably shouldn't. But becoming someone who can learn new technology without immediately fearing it can make you remarkably adaptable. And adaptability itself has value. Leadership adds another layer. Leadership isn't simply telling people what to do. Good leaders create clarity when situations are confusing. They take responsibility. They make decisions with incomplete information. They help people work together. They remain steady when circumstances become difficult. And importantly, leadership can begin long before someone receives a title. You can practice leadership in the way you communicate, solve problems, keep commitments, and respond when something goes wrong. But here's where this becomes especially powerful. Skills rarely grow in isolation. They stack. Someone who understands marketing is useful. Someone who understands technology is useful. But someone who understands marketing and technology may be able to solve problems neither skill could solve alone. Add communication. Now they can explain the solution. Add sales. Now they can persuade someone to adopt it. Add leadership. Now they may be able to build a team around it. The individual skills aren't necessarily rare. The combination can be. And that's one reason developing yourself can create opportunities that weren't available before. You stop competing only on one ability. You begin building a combination that's increasingly difficult to replace. Sometimes the fastest way to become more valuable isn't becoming the absolute best in the world at one thing. It's becoming unusually useful at several things that work together. Learn to communicate, learn to sell, understand technology, solve problems, understand people. Stack those abilities long enough, and eventually you become capable of creating value in situations where other people see only complexity. That's worth remembering. Because your career can change. Your employer can change. Your industry can change. Technology will certainly change. But skills can travel with you. Problem solving may be the skill underneath all the others. Think about why people and businesses exchange money in the first place. Usually, someone wants something solved. They want more customers, more time, less confusion, better health, more convenience, better entertainment, greater efficiency, a repaired home, a completed project, a difficult process made easier. The larger, more expensive, or more important the problem, the more valuable a reliable solution may become. That's why becoming a problem solver changes how you approach work. Instead of saying, "That's not my responsibility," you become curious. Why does this keep happening? Instead of only identifying what's wrong, you begin thinking, what would make this better? That mindset alone can separate people over time. Marketing demonstrates the same principle. You can create something excellent, but if nobody knows it exists, its impact remains limited. Marketing teaches you to understand attention, people, needs, positioning, communication, why someone chooses one option instead of another. Whether you're building a business, developing a career, or creating something online, understanding how value reaches people can become incredibly useful. But none of this means you should attempt to master 6 skills tomorrow. That's how people become overwhelmed. Instead, choose one skill that could meaningfully change your next few years. Ask yourself, if I became noticeably better at one skill over the next 90 days, which one would create the greatest difference in my life? Maybe it's communication, maybe sales, technology, leadership, problem solving, marketing, or something completely different that's valuable in your field. Choose one, then give yourself 90 days. Not 3 days. Not until you become bored. 90 days. Read about it. Watch people who do it well. Practice it. Use it in real situations. Make mistakes. Study those mistakes. Practice again. And most importantly, create evidence that you're improving. If you're learning communication, record yourself speaking. If you're learning sales, practice conversations. If you're learning marketing, create campaigns. If you're learning technology, build something with it. If you're learning leadership, volunteer to take responsibility for something. Don't only consume information. Use it. Because knowledge becomes significantly more valuable when it becomes ability. And ability becomes more valuable when it consistently solves real problems. You can still ask for more money. There are times when you should. You can negotiate. You can pursue better opportunities. You can advocate for yourself. But don't make asking for more your only strategy. Build yourself into someone who can walk into more rooms with something useful to offer. Because the strongest position isn't simply, "I deserve more." It's being able to demonstrate, "I can create more value than I could before." And once you start developing yourself that way, another shift begins. You start thinking beyond what today's decision costs you. You begin thinking about what today's decision could become. A book might become knowledge. A course might become a skill. Practice might become confidence. Saved money might become an opportunity. And sometimes, the decisions that feel inconvenient today are the very decisions your future self will be grateful you made. That's where we're going next, learning to make decisions your future self can afford. Chapter 6. Make decisions your future self can afford. Some decisions feel expensive today, but become incredibly cheap when viewed across 10 years. A book can feel expensive when you're standing at the checkout. A course can feel expensive when you're deciding whether to learn a new skill. Saving money can feel expensive because you're giving up something you could enjoy today. Turning down an unnecessary purchase can feel like sacrifice. Even pursuing an opportunity can feel expensive when it requires time, effort, money, or the possibility of failure. But there's another way to measure cost. Instead of asking only, "What will this cost me today?" ask, "What could this decision be worth to me 10 years from now?" That question changes the calculation. Because some of the cheapest decisions you make today can become expensive over time. And some decisions that feel expensive today may become some of the best bargains of your life. Imagine two people in their late 20s. We'll call them Anthony and James. Both are doing reasonably well. Both have jobs. Both have responsibilities. And both receive an unexpected $1,500. Anthony immediately begins thinking about what he can buy. He's been wanting a newer television. There are clothes he's had saved online. His friends have been talking about taking a trip. None of these things is necessarily irresponsible. He earned the money. He enjoys it. A few weeks later, the $1,500 is gone. He has some new things and some good memories. James receives the same amount. His first instinct is also to spend it. But he pauses. There's a professional skill he's been wanting to develop. He knows becoming better at it could potentially make him more useful in his career. So he uses part of the money to learn. He keeps another portion. And he still uses a small amount to enjoy himself. For the next several months, nothing dramatic happens. Anthony doesn't suddenly become unsuccessful. James doesn't suddenly become wealthy. Their lives look almost identical. And that's why long-term thinking can be difficult. The consequences of today's decisions are often invisible today. But then years begin to pass. James uses the skill. He gets better. It helps him solve more complicated problems. That leads to another opportunity. The new opportunity introduces him to new people. Those relationships lead to ideas he wouldn't have encountered otherwise. One decision begins influencing another. 10 years later, James may barely remember what that original learning opportunity cost, but he can see what it started. The $1,500 was never just $1,500. It became a seed, the hidden question behind every decision. This doesn't mean every dollar should be invested. It doesn't mean every purchase needs to produce a financial return. And it certainly doesn't mean you should feel guilty for enjoying your life. Money has purposes beyond building wealth. It can create experiences, comfort, memories, generosity, time with people you love. The point isn't to stop spending. The point is to understand that every financial decision contains a trade-off. When you choose one thing, you're often giving up another possibility. Economists call this opportunity cost, but you don't need an economics degree to understand it. If you spend 2 hours doing one thing, those 2 hours can't simultaneously be spent somewhere else. If you spend $100 today, those same $100 can't also be used for another purpose tomorrow. So wealth-minded thinking learns to look beyond the immediate transaction. It asks, what am I getting? But also, what am I giving up? And sometimes the thing you're giving up isn't another product. It's flexibility. It's knowledge. It's time. It's an opportunity you haven't discovered yet. Think about education. Education doesn't have to mean a university degree. Sometimes it's a book, a mentor, a workshop, a course, a conversation, a certification, or simply several months spent deliberately learning something useful. The immediate cost is easy to see. The future value is harder to measure. A $20 book can look like $20 leaving your account. But if one idea from that book helps you make better decisions for the next 20 years, what did the book really cost? The same applies to skills. Learning communication might require hundreds of hours. Learning sales can be uncomfortable. Learning technology may mean becoming a beginner again. Learning leadership requires taking responsibility before you feel completely ready. The cost appears immediately. The benefit often arrives later. And that's precisely why many people never begin. But here's where long-term thinking becomes powerful. Your future is often shaped by decisions whose rewards arrive much later than their costs. You pay for the book today. You benefit from the knowledge later. You practice the skill today. You benefit from the ability later. You save the money today. You benefit from the flexibility later. You turn down the unnecessary purchase today. You benefit from having options later. You take the calculated opportunity today. You may benefit from the experience for years. Short-term thinking asks, what can this money buy me right now? Long-term thinking asks, what could this money, time, or decision make possible later? One question is focused on immediate satisfaction. The other leaves room for future opportunity. Building wealth doesn't require rejecting the present. It requires remembering that your future self will eventually have to live with the decisions your present self keeps making. That's the part we often forget. Your future self isn't a stranger. You're making decisions for that person every day. Imagine another situation. You're considering an unnecessary purchase. It costs $500. You can afford the payment. So naturally, the question becomes, can I afford this? But perhaps that's the wrong question. Affordability isn't only about whether the money is available. A more useful question could be, is this the best use of these resources based on what I'm trying to build? The answer might still be yes. Buy it, enjoy it, move on. But sometimes, asking the second question creates a pause. And that pause is powerful, because advertising is designed to make the present feel urgent. Sale ends tonight. Only 2 left. Limited edition. Upgrade now. Everything about modern consumption encourages immediate decisions. Long-term thinking creates distance between desire and action. You don't automatically say no. You simply refuse to let urgency make every decision for you. Saving works the same way. Saving money can feel unrewarding because nothing exciting happens when you do it. There's no package arriving tomorrow. No new car sitting outside. No photograph to post. What you receive instead is something less visible. Capacity. Capacity to handle an emergency. Capacity to wait for the right opportunity. Capacity to walk away from something unhealthy. Capacity to make decisions without every choice being controlled by immediate financial pressure. That capacity may not look impressive, but it can become incredibly valuable. And then there are calculated opportunities. Sometimes building your future requires spending rather than saving. A business idea, equipment, education, travel for an opportunity, a new project. Not every opportunity will work. That's why the word calculated matters. Long-term thinking isn't reckless optimism. It's asking, what's the downside? What's the potential upside? What can I afford to lose? What will I learn even if this doesn't work? Does this move me toward the person I'm trying to become? That is very different from blindly chasing every opportunity that promises money. There's an idea often attributed to Benjamin Franklin that captures the value of developing yourself. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. The principle behind those words is worth remembering. What you learn can influence decisions long after you've forgot what the learning originally cost. So here's your action for this chapter. Sometime this week, when you're about to make an unnecessary purchase, don't immediately tell yourself no. Instead, pause and ask, would future me rather have this, or what this money could become? Maybe future you would still choose the purchase. That's okay. The goal isn't deprivation. The goal is awareness. But perhaps future you would rather have the savings, the skill, the experience, the opportunity, the breathing room, the choice. Make the decision intentionally. Because patience isn't simply waiting. Consistency isn't simply repeating. And wealth-minded thinking isn't simply earning. All 3 require learning to respect a future you cannot see yet. Your future self will eventually inherit everything you're building today. Your habits, your knowledge, your relationships, your financial decisions, your opportunities, and your consequences. So build with that person in mind. Because some of the best decisions you'll ever make won't feel rewarding when you make them. They'll feel rewarding years later when you realize what they allowed you to become. But there's another challenge waiting on this journey. As you begin making smarter decisions and quietly building something meaningful, there will still be pressure to prove that you're succeeding. To display it, to wear it, to drive it, to post it, to make sure everyone else can see that you're doing well. And sometimes, the desire to look successful can become one of the biggest obstacles to actually becoming financially strong. That's where we're going next. Chapter 7. Stop trying to look successful. Some people spend years trying to look like the person they're supposed to be becoming. They buy the car before they've built financial stability. They upgrade the wardrobe before they've increased their financial margin. They take the vacation partly because they want the experience, and partly because they want people to see the experience. They spend money celebrating a level of success they're still trying to create. And sometimes, without realizing it, they become trapped maintaining an image that their actual financial life cannot comfortably support. But here's the question worth asking. What would your financial decisions look like if nobody else could see them? No social media, no friends watching, no coworkers comparing, no family members judging, no audience to impress. Would you still make the same choices? Because sometimes the greatest competition for your financial future isn't another person. It's the version of yourself you're trying to convince everyone you've already become. The pressure to prove you've made it. Imagine someone named Michael. Michael has spent years working toward a better life. He wasn't born into wealth. He remembers struggling. He remembers watching other people have things his family couldn't afford. He remembers saying to himself, "One day I'm going to have that." Years later, Michael's income finally begins increasing. And that feels good. Not simply because he has more money, because the money represents something emotional. Progress, proof, maybe even escape from the person he used to be. So when Michael purchases his first luxury vehicle, he's not only buying transportation, he's buying a symbol. Every time he gets into that car, it tells him, "You're not struggling anymore." When other people notice it, that feeling becomes even stronger. The compliments feel like confirmation. "You're doing well. I see you. You've made it." And there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying a beautiful car. But Michael's financial situation isn't as strong as the car makes it appear. The payment is significant. Insurance costs more. Maintenance costs more. And because the car has changed how people perceive him, something else begins happening. His clothes don't feel right anymore. Then his apartment doesn't seem to match. His vacations begin changing. The restaurants change. The expectations change. Without intending to, Michael has created a lifestyle that now requires him to keep proving the original purchase was justified. His income increased, but so did the cost of maintaining his identity. And that's when success can become strangely exhausting. Who are you trying to convince? This is where the conversation goes deeper than money. Because status isn't always about arrogance. Sometimes it's about insecurity. Sometimes people don't buy things because they believe they're better than everyone else. They buy them because they're afraid of being seen as less than everyone else. Maybe you grew up without much. Maybe people underestimated you. Maybe someone told you that you'd never become successful. Maybe you've spent years watching people online appear to move faster than you. Then finally, you begin making progress. Naturally, part of you wants people to know. You want them to see that you survived, that you built something, that you weren't who they thought you were. But here's a difficult question. How much is proving them wrong costing you? Because if you're not careful, the people you're trying to impress can begin influencing financial decisions they will never have to pay for. They won't make the car payment. They won't pay the credit card bill. They won't fund your emergency. They won't replace the money you could have kept. And years from now, many of them may not even remember what you were trying so hard to prove. Social media makes this even harder. Every day, we're shown visible success. Cars, homes, watches, restaurants, flights, vacations, designer clothing, business class seats, perfect offices, beautiful lifestyles. But financial stability is difficult to photograph. You can't easily post peace of mind. You can't photograph having 6 months of expenses available. Nobody sees the debt you decided not to take on. Nobody applauds the purchase you walked away from. Financial breathing room doesn't create an exciting 30-second video. And that's exactly why visible success can become so deceptive. You see what someone owns. You don't necessarily see what they owe. You see what they spend. You don't see what remains. You see the lifestyle. You don't see the financial pressure required to maintain it. And sometimes, you're comparing your financial reality to someone else's financial presentation. That's a dangerous comparison. But here's where the mindset shifts. Real wealth often looks boring while it's being built. It can look like keeping the same car after your income increases. It can look like wearing clothes you already own. It can look like staying home while everyone else appears to be traveling. It can look like reading on a Friday night, learning a skill nobody knows you're developing, saving money nobody can see, building a business that isn't impressive yet, turning down purchases you could technically afford. Looking successful creates evidence for other people. Building wealth creates options for you. One is designed to be noticed now. The other may remain invisible for years. And sometimes the strongest financial move you can make is being completely comfortable with nobody knowing you're making progress. That's quiet progress. And quiet progress requires confidence. Not the loud kind. The kind that allows you to know where you're going without constantly needing other people to validate the journey. Imagine two entrepreneurs. Both businesses begin performing well. The first entrepreneur immediately wants the world to see it. New vehicle, new office, expensive clothes, luxury travel. Every increase in revenue becomes another opportunity to display success. The second entrepreneur celebrates too. But quietly, they keep improving the business, strengthen systems, develop their skills, build reserves, take care of the people around them. They understand something important. Revenue can disappear. A good month isn't a guaranteed good year. A successful year isn't a guaranteed successful decade. So they allow their foundation to become stronger before their lifestyle becomes heavier. From the outside, the first entrepreneur may look more successful. But which one is better prepared for a difficult year? Which one has more flexibility when an opportunity appears? Which one can make decisions without needing everything to work perfectly next month? Visible status and actual strength are not always the same thing. And that's why quiet progress can be so powerful. There's a quote from Will Rogers that captures this perfectly. Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want, to impress people they don't like. The language is humorous. The lesson isn't. It's remarkably easy to allow other people's opinions to become part of your financial decision-making. So let's make this personal. Think about one area of your life where you're most tempted to impress people. Maybe it's your vehicle, clothing, your home, vacations, technology, restaurants, jewelry, the appearance of your business, or simply the pressure to always look like everything is going well. Now ask yourself, if nobody else could see this, would I still spend the same amount of money on it? Don't automatically assume the answer should be no. Maybe you genuinely love cars. Maybe travel matters deeply to you. Maybe fashion is something you truly enjoy. That's fine. The exercise isn't about eliminating things you value. It's about separating value from validation. Then ask a second question. What could I strengthen if I stopped trying to prove this? Maybe you'd strengthen your savings, your business, your education, Your skills, your ability to take opportunities, or simply your peace, because financial strength doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it quietly accumulates while everyone else is watching something louder. And eventually, you reach a point where you no longer need your possessions to explain who you are. Your confidence isn't sitting in the driveway. Your identity isn't printed on your clothing. Your progress doesn't require an audience. You know what you're building, and that's enough. But this creates one final question. If you stop trying to look wealthy, if you learn to think differently about money, if you create value, if you recognize opportunities, if you make decisions with your future in mind, who do you actually need to become to handle the wealth you're trying to build? Because getting more money is one challenge. Having the discipline, character, judgment, and responsibility to manage more is another. And that brings us to the final chapter. Become the person who can handle wealth. Chapter 8. Become the person who can handle wealth. What if the real goal isn't simply becoming wealthy, but becoming capable of handling wealth? Most people imagine financial success by thinking about what they would have. The home, the freedom, the business, the investments, the ability to travel, the ability to help family, the freedom to make choices without constantly worrying about money. But there's another question that rarely gets asked. Who would you need to become to manage that life well? Because more money doesn't automatically create better decisions. Sometimes it simply gives your existing habits more power. Give an undisciplined person more resources, and they may find more expensive ways to be undisciplined. Give an impulsive person more money, and their impulses suddenly have a larger budget. Give someone who constantly needs approval a larger income, and they may simply find more expensive ways to impress people. But give greater resources to someone who has developed patience, wisdom, discipline, responsibility, and purpose. And those same resources can create possibilities that didn't exist before. That's why perhaps the final stage of reprogramming your mind for wealth isn't about money at all. It's about becoming someone capable of carrying greater responsibility without being controlled by it. Imagine receiving everything you say you want. Imagine your income suddenly triples. Your business grows. Opportunities begin appearing. People start paying attention. You have access to rooms you once dreamed of entering. You can afford things you previously couldn't. At first, it feels like freedom, but then the responsibility arrives. More money means more decisions. A growing business may mean employees depending on your leadership. Greater visibility may mean more people watching your behavior. More opportunities mean learning when to say yes and when to say no. People may begin asking you for help. Your family may expect more. Your time becomes more valuable. Mistakes become more expensive. And suddenly, you realize something. The life you asked for requires a stronger version of you. The question is no longer simply, can I get there? It's, can I handle being there? That question changes how you prepare for success. Money amplifies what already exists. There's a tendency to believe money will solve every weakness. When I earn more, I'll start saving. When the business grows, I'll become organized. When I become successful, I'll take better care of myself. When I have more time, I'll become disciplined. But often the opposite happens. Success doesn't automatically create discipline. It tests the discipline you already have. More resources don't automatically create responsibility. They reveal how responsibly you manage resources. That's why the habits you practice with a little can matter when you eventually have a lot. If you can't manage a small schedule, A larger business won't necessarily make you more organized. If every increase in income immediately becomes an increase in spending, doubling your income may simply double the scale of the pattern. If you struggle to say no when opportunities are small, greater success may surround you with even more distractions. This isn't meant to discourage ambition. It's the opposite. Prepare for what you're asking for. Character matters when nobody is watching. Wealth conversations often focus on strategy. How to earn, how to build, how to create, how to grow. Those things matter. But character determines what you do when the strategy works. Will you keep your word when breaking it would be more profitable? Will you treat people differently once you no longer need their approval? Will you remember the people who helped you before anyone knew your name? Will you make decisions based only on what you can get, or also consider what your decisions affect? Money can increase your options. Character influences what you do with those options. And some of the most important decisions you'll ever make will happen when nobody else knows what you could have gotten away with. Discipline protects what opportunity creates. Opportunity can open a door. Discipline helps you remain in the room. You may receive a great opportunity because someone believes in your potential. But maintaining that opportunity may require showing up when you're tired, preparing when nobody is checking, managing money when spending would be more exciting, continuing to learn after you've already experienced success, doing ordinary things long after the excitement disappears. That's why discipline isn't only a tool for becoming successful. It can also become a tool for surviving success. Because success can create distractions that struggle never offered you. More invitations, more purchases, more attention, more people wanting your time, more opportunities that sound good but don't align with where you're going. Discipline gives you the ability to say, "Just because I can doesn't mean I should." That's a powerful sentence. But here's where wealth can become bigger than you. At some point, you may begin asking a different question. Not how much can I accumulate, but what can I do with what I've been given? That's where generosity enters the conversation. Generosity doesn't require being wealthy. It can begin now. Your time, your knowledge, your encouragement, your connections, your resources, your attention, but greater financial capacity can expand your ability to contribute. You may be able to help your family, support someone else's education, create jobs, fund ideas, support organizations you believe in, help someone during a difficult season, build something that continues serving people after you're gone. And that changes the meaning of wealth. Money can buy comfort, but it can also create capacity. Capacity to help, capacity to build, capacity to employ, capacity to give, capacity to solve problems larger than yourself. The question isn't only how much wealth you can create, it's what kind of person you'll become while creating it, and what that person will choose to do once more becomes possible. That's one of the most important shifts in this entire audiobook. Because if your only reason for wanting more is to consume more, there may never be enough. There's always another level, another car, another house, another trip, another upgrade, another person who has more. Purpose gives wealth direction. Leadership gives wealth responsibility. Imagine two business owners. Both become financially successful. The first believes success means finally being able to focus entirely on themselves. Employees become numbers. Customers become transactions. Relationships become useful only when they produce something. The second sees growth differently. They understand that more success means more people may be affected by their decisions. Employees have families. Customers are trusting them. Partners are taking risks with them. Their decisions create consequences beyond their own bank account. Both may have money, but only one has developed the leadership required to carry the responsibility that came with it. Leadership isn't about having followers. It's about understanding that your choices affect people besides yourself. And the greater your resources become, the greater that impact can become. Long-term thinking brings everything together. Think back through what we've explored. You examined the money story you inherited. You began shifting from simply earning toward keeping, building, and multiplying. You recognized how lifestyle can compete with your future. You trained yourself to notice problems and opportunities. You considered how becoming more valuable can create greater possibilities. You learned to make decisions with your future self in mind. And you challenged the pressure to look successful before becoming financially strong. All of those lessons lead here. Because the ultimate question isn't simply, how do I get more? It's, who am I becoming as I build more? There's a line from Jim Rohn that captures this idea. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Whether you're building a career, a business, financial stability, or simply a better life, the principle is worth considering. You don't only build the result. The process builds you. The patience changes you. The discipline changes you. The mistakes teach you. Responsibility stretches you. Leadership challenges you. Generosity reminds you that success doesn't have to end with you. And long-term thinking teaches you to make decisions for a life you cannot fully see yet. So here's your final chapter action. Take out a blank page. At the top, write, the person I must become to responsibly handle the life I'm asking for. Then describe that person. Don't describe what they own. Describe who they are. How do they make decisions? How do they handle money? How do they treat people? What do they do when nobody is watching? How disciplined are they? What do they continue learning? How do they respond to failure? How do they behave when success arrives? What kind of leader are they? How do they give? What do they refuse to compromise? What does their family experience because of who they've become? What do people trust them with? And what does money allow them to contribute, not merely consume? Write one page, then read it again. Because perhaps you've been focusing so much on the life you're trying to build that you haven't spent enough time thinking about the person who will have to live it. Your future isn't only asking you to earn more. It may be asking you to become more disciplined, more thoughtful, more patient, more responsible, more capable, more generous, more intentional. And that brings us back to the question that started this journey. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your life really change? Maybe. But perhaps the better question is, would you be ready? Because wealth begins long before the number appears in your account. It begins in the beliefs you question, the habits you develop, the skills you build, the opportunities you learn to recognize, the purchases you choose not to make, the value you create, the responsibilities you're willing to carry, and the person you decide to become. The goal isn't simply to have more. The goal is to become capable of doing something meaningful with more. And now that we've talked about changing the way you think about money, there's only one place left to go. Not another lesson, not another strategy, but a decision. What are you going to do differently starting today? Because your financial future doesn't begin someday when you finally have enough money. It begins with the person you're becoming right now. Your financial future starts before the money. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your life actually change? That's the question we started with. And after everything we've explored, maybe you see that question differently now. Because more money can create more options. It can relieve pressure. It can open doors. It can give you opportunities that weren't available before. But money alone cannot decide what you do with those opportunities. Your thinking does. The beliefs you carry about money influence the decisions you make with it. Your habits determine whether increased income becomes increased freedom or simply increased spending. Your skills influence the value you're capable of creating. Your discipline determines what you're willing to delay. And your character determines what you do when nobody is watching. So maybe the better question isn't whether you're ready to make more money. Maybe it's whether you're becoming the person capable of doing something meaningful with it. You don't have to wait until you're wealthy to begin becoming that person. Don't wait until you're wealthy to think differently. Think differently now. Don't wait for opportunity before becoming prepared. Prepare now. Don't wait for more money before learning discipline. Practice it with what you already have. Don't wait for success before developing character. Build it when nobody is watching. And don't wait until you have everything figured out before changing the financial patterns you already recognize. Start with one belief, one habit, one skill, one decision. Maybe you stop telling yourself that people like you can't build wealth. Maybe you finally learn the skill you've been postponing. Maybe you keep a little more of what you earn. Maybe you stop buying things simply because you want other people to believe you're successful. Maybe you spend the next 7 days paying attention to problems you could eventually learn to solve. None of those decisions will transform your financial life overnight. And that's the point. Real transformation rarely announces itself when it begins. It often looks ordinary. Reading the book, learning the skill, keeping the money, turning down the purchase, showing up again, making the better decision when nobody is there to congratulate you. Then one decision becomes a pattern. A pattern becomes a habit. A habit begins shaping your identity. And eventually, your external life begins reflecting changes that started internally long before anyone else could see them. So as this audiobook ends, don't ask yourself whether you remember every lesson. Ask yourself something simpler. What will I do differently because I heard them? And I'd like you to answer that question in the comments. What's one belief, habit, or financial decision you're changing starting today? If this audiobook gave you something worth thinking about, subscribe to Mindset Catalyst and share it with someone who's working toward a stronger financial future too. And remember, your financial future doesn't begin when the perfect opportunity arrives. It doesn't begin when your income reaches a certain number. It begins with what you choose to do with what you have today. Change the mind. Change the habits. Change the decisions. And given enough time, you may be surprised by how much your financial life changes with them.